Good morning, good afternoon, and evening, baseball fans. Welcome back to the Barstool Baseball Show. This is Monday. It is the Power Ranking panel of experts. It is Klemmer, Hubs, Castellani, and myself, Carl, here. And as we get into the show, Klemmer, you said something I think is very interesting as a baseball fan. You said if the next bet hits, it'll be the best start to this, or the highest unit count of the season.
For me, yeah. I had a big one today, which is good because I was in a little bit of a skid. But yeah, if I can hit tomorrow, I'll have my highest units count of the year, 21-11 record wise. But I did lose the first two this weekend, but I hit a big one today, so I was happy about that.
Yeah, I've noticed a difference in you as you've started to bet, and I think like the animal in you is starting to come out a little bit. I see it in these reaction videos. Am I wrong, Hubs? I see you smirking. You know what I'm talking about.
The Clark Schmidt reaction was all time.
Yeah, I was pretty pissed off. I was at the Comedy Cellar, had a few drinks. I got out of the Comedy Cellar and saw that Clark Schmidt had 52 pitches through 5 innings. I'm ecstatic. And then literally the next message I get is they're taking him out. I just lost my mind.
He had 15 through 2. It was because the Royals just swing. They have no interest in taking pitches. They're just like, let's get the game over as soon as possible. And you were on a roll, and then Boone said no.
No, of course, yeah. Aaron Boone and all of his genius. Just an awful manager. I mean, the Yankees are such a train wreck this year. And I know it's more than just Boone. You have Aaron Judge and Rodon obviously isn't what you guys bargained for to start the year, but man, does he suck.
I didn't like it at the time, and I felt for Clark because he, had his pitch count in shape and all that, and the bullpen's been taxed. And then I look back after he's made worse moves before. The lefties were getting to him a little bit. Wandy's a lefty. I kind of understood it, but brutal. Of course, is that the first time you picked a Yankee?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
and you didn't want, again, Klemmer, you hate the Yankees. You don't want to do anything with the Yankees.
No, I did it really just because I thought it was the best play. So on top of it, you're kind of swallowing, you're almost like selling out a little bit by taking that Yankee pick. And then when it doesn't hit, I was just enraged. I was just
if anything, it's you like biting the bullet. You're like, I know this is the play. Like this is gonna hurt to watch,
right?
And be like, I gotta do this, and then you get fucked like that. That was special.
And that was just like, like I said, it was one of those things where in my mind I already counted as a W, and then when it blows up in your face, I just
never do that in gambling. I'll say that.
It's never done in gambling.
Yeah. Perfect. Nothing like count those chickens before they hatch. Whoever said otherwise is a moron. Castellani, we got to you before the 3-minute mark of the recording. Usually intro last couple of weeks. We've been late on the intro to you. How was your weekend? Coming off Oppenheimer. If you listen to our Friday show, Castellani doesn't like movies. He came in glowing why Oppenheimer blew his fucking tits clean off his chest for 3 straight fucking hours.
I had a good weekend at the movies. I enjoyed Oppenheimer. I enjoyed Barbie quite a bit. 2 funny reviews. So and my Tigers got their tits lit by the Padres, but they salvaged one today. I'm really looking forward to this show because I believe, is this the last show we're doing before the deadline, or is the deadline August 1st?
No, it should be one more.
No, we got time. We got time. Don't be pulling.
Yeah, we do one more.
That quick here.
Because I think my list is a little bit chaotic. So I think that we're going to have some pretty good back and forth here. There's some teams I felt like had some really bizarre weeks and are kind of trending in opposite directions. So I think the mainstay, the top, will be relatively the same, but I think that 4 through 9 is going to be a little bit more chaotic than we're used to here. So it should be fun.
Let's hope so. Klemmer took a big victory lap last week. Reds went out, won 5 in a row. Fucking love this sport. Love this league. Love everything about it. It's the power ranking panel. You guys know how this works. We have a batting order. The 4 guys are going to go through. We volunteer our suggestion for who we think should occupy the spot based on our own list, and then there's some discourse that goes around with the picks. The batting order this week, I believe Hubs is leading off for the first time this season, or maybe the second time. Infrequently, Hubs hits first. We're going to go Hubs 1, Castellani 2, Klemmer 3, and myself 4. That's Hubs 1 and 5, Castellani 2, 6, Klemmer 3, 7, and myself 4 and 8. With that, I will turn it over to the co-editor-in-chief, Hubs. What do we got? Who's number 1?
No need to take any pitches. You just got to swing. It's the Braves still. I will say they almost dropped their 3rd straight series today. So, they haven't been at their normal, bludgeoning, June, all this. But it's been a bit of a struggle. They are still the best team in baseball. They take 2 or 3 from the Brewers on Sunday. In doing so, they actually snapped the Brewers bullpen's 29 straight scoreless inning streak. The Brewers bullpen was absolutely dealing the last few since what's gotten them back, into first here in the Central. Albies hits the 3-run homer to give the Braves the win. They're 30 games over 500. They got 148 run differential in the positive direction. Their pitching performances of late have not been inspiring. Although I think Elder did pitch well today, but for the most part, not the greatest. They were part of an insane juice ball game earlier this week. They did lose 16-13 to the Diamondbacks. I think it was like the sixth inning at one point, and at that point in the game, every pitcher had given up a home run. So it was something else. That was crazy. One of the better. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, I was interested in you taking one here as the AL East guy, because I just didn't know if another team in the East had crept up, and I know how close you play. So, but your point of Braves winning, today, if they lost that series, maybe it's a little bit different. They hang on.
Yeah. If they lost today, 3 straight series losses, maybe you consider it, but I can't. If they, holding on today, winning that game the way they did, I'm giving it to the Braves.
Yeah, no argument for me. I think that they have not looked quite like themselves in a post All-Star break. Now, part of that is like they had a stretch where they were a few inches, one or two plays away from winning 20 in a row. So they were kind of set up to fall back a little bit. I do think some of the pitching, Bryce Elder, I know he pitched well today, but he is showing a little bit of regression. But they're going to get freed back at some point. They're going to make some moves at the deadline. And they have a comfortable division lead. So I think they might have a tendency to play with their food a little bit over the next few weeks. But they have a stretch coming up. It's road series, but they play the Cubs, Pirates, Mets on the road. And they have a series against the Angels at home. So they got a lot of winnable games coming up here in August. They're going to find their power stroke, and they're going to get hot again.
Yeah, the Braves are awesome. Obviously, I thought about maybe moving, the Orioles up to that spot potentially, but the Braves they're just the best team in baseball still. Mm-hmm. Like you said, I mean, they've been consistently great now for 2 months now. I mean, just consistently dominant. It's just impossible to pick against the Braves. By the way, Braves right now going into today, 185 home runs as a team. That is outstanding when you consider that they have 65 games left. So that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't think there was any, obviously coming this too close out of break in the trade deadline, the Braves would have to be 0-9 over their last 9 to really be pulling alarms and stuff, even if Bryce Elder has an ounce of regression. So I do
wonder real quick. I think for a little bit here, it was just assumption Braves number one. I think maybe this last little recent stretch is okay, they might need to go out and get a starting pitcher. Yeah. I know Fried is coming back. A lot to put on the shoulders of Max Fried coming back, or to just be hey, let's get this rotation back. They might need to go out and go get a Giolito. That might have to be, and maybe this little rocky stretch is a blessing in disguise to show them, hey, you do have a flaw. Go address it.
Yeah, I could see them being all over Eduardo Rodriguez too, because I think that one thing with the Braves, and it's a wonderful team, and Charlie Morton's excellent. I don't know if there's a number one ace in that rotation. I think Morton's a really good number 2. I think Fried at his peak is close to a number 1, but more of a number 2. I think that it's kind of if you have a 1, 2, 3 though of, let's say, an Erod type, then Max Fried, then Morton, then you go to Elder. It creates a dangerous scenario for any team that they're going up against. So I am with you. I do think they have to add a little bit to that rotation.
No, starting pitching's a problem. I mean, you got Strider, Morton, Elder. Obviously,
I forgot Strider. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay. Spencer Strider is an Atlanta Brave, and he did he's shattering the fastest to 200 strikeout record again.
He gives up a lot of hard contact though.
He does.
Yeah.
He's been striking out guys like crazy, like he does, but his ERA is creeping up closer to 4 now. And like Chris said, he has been getting hit a little bit. It's a little concerning. I'm looking right now, his last 12 innings, 12 hits. I mean, not the end of the world. Only 1 walk. You like that kind of stuff. Right. But at the end of the day, you have 3 pitchers that I think you can count on. But then Soraka has not been good. Max Fried, we keep saying his name. That's great. He's only made 5 starts this year. He's come off 60-day DL. You don't know we're going to get there. I think you absolutely need to get someone like Eduardo Rodriguez, Giolito, Jordan Montgomery, Jack Flaherty. You need someone to go in there to get some stability in that rotation for sure. The Braves need to make a move before the deadline.
Giolito and Jack Flaherty's names getting thrown around this confidently at a trade deadline is not something that I saw coming. But because it's like now we're at the point where we're saying like they needed Giolito. Guys, come on, we can't be that. Like they could use Giolito's help, but we're not. If we're at this point with Lucas Giolito, where we're anointing him as the guy that other clubs need to like get over a hump, like the hump is way too fucking big.
That's a fair point. I think it's I do get that. I think that they might need to make a bigger push. Like I know that I'm my opinion's a bit skewed because he's a Tiger, but like Erod's been fantastic this year. Like Erod is capable of pitching like a 1. I've liked Giolito, but Giolito hasn't had a great year in a minute. Like he's still pretty darn inconsistent. Like I still think he's a really good 3 in a rotation, but yeah, no, I'm with you. We'll see what moves they make.
I don't know, Carl. I disagree with you. I think there's a lot of value in having depth. I mean, like, is Jack Flaherty going to win a Cy Young? No. But is he a guy that can go out there and throw 6 innings for you, give your bullpen a little rest, give it a bridge to get to your big 3 starters? Absolutely. They have Jared Schuster. He's in AAA right now. And, but I think Flaherty's an upgrade over that. So, and look, Giolito, is he, like I said, is he going to win, is he going to make them all of a sudden a World Series favorite for me? You know what I mean? Like, just because of him? No. But I think you absolutely need guys like that in your team.
Well, and the thing about the Braves, too, is they don't need that much. You know what I mean? Like, there are certain teams at the deadline where it's like, and we'll talk about them, where it's like, okay, they really need to bolster that rotation. They got to get an ace. They got to get a big-time power bat. The Braves are close to complete. They'll get greedy as they should because they want to win a World Series, but there's nothing that they need to do that's going to rock the boat, unload pieces of the farm system.
So what's the risk? They're not going to – I would say, like, they have the East is locked up. So then do they have home field advantage locked up?
They have a
for the National League
lead over the Dodgers.
Yeah, okay. It's pretty
that's
healthy.
And now I think as we get into this, the Dodgers they're very fucking impressive.
Yeah.
But my broader point about the Braves is what is that pressure point? If it is home field advantage, then sure. My point is more about Lucas Giolito being this name that's like, well, is he at the Orioles? The Rangers could use him. A lot of people could use him. He's a serviceable major league starting pitcher. I don't want to get into this. I'm hesitant to just say certain, like, I don't think he's good enough the way some people are talking about is basically what I'm saying.
That's fair. You're right. That's fair. Yeah.
Not everyone's Pedro Martinez, but there also is there's a value for that middle guy. I think there's a lot of value for those guys that you can be your 4th or 5th starter, especially for some of these teams that, like the Rays. Almost every team on my list has some starting pitching holes in it that they desperately could really use a guy to go in there, just lengthening some of those games a little bit.
So let's say, I guess this will be really interesting. We agree confidently, I would imagine, in the 2 spot. But who's Castellani? You're second.
Yes, I'm glad to be going second because I'm glad I get to talk about this team. It's Baltimore Orioles, who just had, I would say, the biggest series that they've played in the regular season in I don't know how long. I mean, probably since they last made the playoffs in 2016. They just won a series in Tropicana Field for the first time since 2017. They did it when it was lined up, and the Rays broadcasters were talking about this. It was lined up for the Rays to win this series. The pitching matchups in at least 3 of the 4 games favored them. The Orioles got out to leads. They blew a few leads. And I'll still say the one detriment about the Orioles, I still don't think they're as good as their record. But I don't think it matters. I don't think they give a shit. And that's what makes this team really fun and really appealing. They have multiple guys who are becoming stars. We know what Adley's going to be. Gunnar Henderson is going nuts right now. I mean, every time I turn around, that dude is hitting a home run or making an elite play at shortstop, confident player. And ultimately, if you have a lead after 7 innings against this team, it's over. Cano and Batista aren't blowing it. I mean, but these 2 guys are just mountains. Taking them out every, in the 8th and 9th inning. That series they just played against the Rays was remarkably impressive. Now, the one thing I got to add here is that right now, because it's July 23rd, now the script is flipped a little bit. The Baltimore Orioles are no longer the scrappy underdog surprise team of baseball. They got to win this division. They are now the favorite to win the American League East. They are no longer, they're going to be the hunted and not the hunter. And we'll see how they respond to that. But at every turn this year, every time I felt like they're going to start to fall apart, the pitching's going to come undone, the rotation's not good enough, they just keep winning. And there's something to be said about that. We can look at the metrics all we want. We can look at the starting pitching ERA all we want. When it matters most, they're pulling out and winning games. That's what matters. Yeah.
It's a great pick.
Gunnar Henderson was unbelievable this weekend, as you said. 5 or 6 web gems, easily. The homer today, you can't see where the ball landed. And like they said, it was a catwalk homer. I don't think it was. I think he just went out of the camera shot. I don't think it actually was hot. It was a line drive going. It was unbelievable. He's got to be the front runner for the Rookie of the Year, I would think, based off like what he's been doing lately and like how he's a pivotal piece of this team as they move into first place. They're 31-18 on the road, which is an AL best. They're on pace for 100 wins now. Felix Bautista, as Chris mentioned, his K rate right now is 50.7%. He's not going to win the Cy Young, but he's going to get a lot of votes for the like. He will be a top 5 Cy Young guy. I would say. So. Yeah. If this stays, I mean, there's 2 months to go, so a lot can happen for a reliever. But at this like he's pitching like that. I am overly impressed. I will say, as a little bit of a downer. Chris, you mentioned biggest series in forever for them, right?
Mm-hmm.
This next 3 to 4 weeks for them. At the Phillies, who've been playing better ball. Then the Yankees are at home. I believe Saturday's a Fox game. When's the last time a Yankees-Orioles game was on Fox this late in the year? Sunday's Sunday Night Baseball, too. Then they go up to Toronto for 4. The Mets, Houston, and Seattle. Not an easy stretch here. They're very good, and they're capable of beating all those teams. But it's good. They're about to enter a gauntlet of a stretch. They're in it. I mean, they just played the Rays. That's not like, but this is a very tough stretch. This team is young enough and good enough to do it, though. They're special.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like them a lot. I do once again worry about that pitching though, and Kyle Bradish has been awesome the last few months here. Tyler Wells is very good. Like he's proven himself to be especially when you look at like hits per innings pitch. He's 106 innings, he's got 79 hits. Like he's missing bats. He's doing a great job. Dean Kramer and Kyle Gibson are kind of what you'd expect from those guys, which is like mediocre but okay enough, and then he gets to that bullpen. I don't know. I worry about this team in the playoffs because I don't think you can win like that. I think you can beat bad teams much easier like that. I don't know if it's the same recipe will work. Then again, they just beat the Rays, who are one of the best teams in baseball. So I don't know. The Orioles keep doing it. This stretch is huge for them. I really want to see them make a couple moves for the deadline, though. I want to see them go with some guys.
They're like an NFL team that keeps. I know this isn't a true like one-to-one comparison, but it just seems like a team with maybe it's like a weaker secondary that continues to win week after week, where the experts and the pundits are like, hey, it's very hard to win at this level without premium starting pitching. I want to get back to Tyler Wells because at the start of the season, through about 45 innings, he only had 30 strikeouts. And then in my head, I had put in this like Tyler Wells is a guy who generates weak contact. But to your point, Klemmer, if you go back, his last 40 or 50 innings, he's striking out guys at a near 13 per 9 clip, which is going to force national media. People don't follow Tyler Wells to watch one of his fucking starts to make an opinion about the guy. Because it suggests that it's not, as the Orioles were building their traction, saying this guy isn't even like, he generates weak contact, but can he be a front end starter? Like it looks over his last 9-10 starts, the peripherals look like he is somebody who can walk in October and shut down a lineup more than just getting weak contact, like putting up those multiple strikeout innings. So
now the one scary thing with Wells is he just surpassed last year's innings. Like he's now in uncharted territory. How does that guy, they're going to need to figure out a way to get him into October, with his arm preserved. So he's not just completely gassed out there and firing nothing, because he's already at 106 innings. I think last year was 103, the year before that 57. So they're going to have to find a way to stretch out his starts somehow.
And there's a bit of concern there, Hub. So let's speak to that real quick. So like Carl said, hey, I noticed his strikeout rate has been going up. And he's right. In May and June, he had strikeouts per 9 innings over 10, both those months. July's been a little different. His ERA is 5.79 in July. He had a rough start that last one, and then we see that K rate only 3 starts, but down to 6.4, only 10 Ks in 14 innings. If he is starting to wear down, even more reason the Orioles, because the Orioles need Tyler Wells so badly. They just don't have a lot of good starting pitchers, and where he's the number 2 guy, if he's going to kind of crawl to the finish line here, they're fucked. They need to go out and get someone right away. They more than any team that's like really good on this list. the Orioles need to make a move the most.
Absolutely.
They need Giolito. The way that when I go back to the Giolito thing, like I'm okay if an Orioles fan wants to talk about Giolito as a savior when you look at the rotation like that.
And I also think there'd be intangibles that Giolito could offer there, because that's a great point you brought up about Tyler Wells. The one thing about Giolito, he knows the grind of a 162 game season. He has pitched in October before, which is something that outside of Kyle Gibson, I think pitched in relief. None of these guys on the Orioles are really aware of. I think he could be a guy who could provide a lot of stability there, which they're going to need, because that is a great point about their pitching depth and just the overall experience. By the time you get to August, September, you're going to feel the grind for sure.
Hey, one thing I like that Hubs pointed out was the 31-18 thing. To me, that's just a young team that likes playing for Brandon Hyde and doesn't walk into a place and feel like they're just taking it day to day. That's what I see when I see 31-18 on the road. Could be wrong, but I love a young team like that.
And if you were watching that series in Tropicana, the Orioles fans took over that ballpark. I mean, maybe I don't know. Maybe that's not hard to do, but like by the end of it, I mean, the amount of "Let's Go O's" chants. I mean, their fans are traveling well because they believe in their ball club right now.
Yeah, at first I thought it was just orange, because like orange will just stand out. Even if there's one person sitting in 20 people, I was like, oh, there's a lot of orange here. Then you hear it. It's like, oh, shit. Like these guys are here and they're bringing it, and the players backed it up.
Yeah.
Klemmer, are you just gonna throw a softball in here at 3? I'm very interested in your pick at 3.
Yeah. Not necessarily a pick I'm excited to make, but a pick I feel I have to make. I'm going to take the team that has the most runs in the National League, and that's the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Thank you.
Wow, 3. Okay.
I'm applauding this, Klemmer. I think this is a great pick.
I'm nodding.
Yeah.
Give me a good nod.
Their lineup is awesome, right? Like they've just been, and they don't just beat teams, right? They just annihilate them when they win. They're, let me see here. They are, 6-2 since the All-Star break. If you want to go back even further, they're, 10 of their last 12. So this is a team that's playing really well right now. But you know me, I'm always kind of looking at the negative here, and that rotation scares the shit out of me. I don't know when Kershaw's coming back. You can't count on him. So you have Gonsolin, who's not been that great of late, Urias, who hasn't been very good since coming off the IL, Bobby Miller, who's proving to be a decent guy to have in that rotation. He's been consistent, for a 24-year-old. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't love Emmett Sheehan. He's kind of all over the place. He's also the wheels are kind of falling off. Book seems to be out on him a little bit. Michael Grove, he's been pretty bad all year. He doesn't have, the consistency I talk about Bobby Miller is what Michael Grove is lacking. But then again, if they can keep mashing and get some of these guys back, like Kershaw and maybe Urias on the right track, Gonsolin on the right track, that's enough for the playoffs. But I tell you, if this team was marching into October right now, I don't know how far I'd see them going. I don't think they have the arms to do it. But we have, obviously we're going to the trade deadline here. But this team, I have them third. They've earned it. Good for them. They got some work to do.
They've scored more runs than the Braves, by the way. They've played as many games as the Braves. They have scored more runs than the Braves this season.
Wow.
Most in the National League.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
you opened with that point,
I did.
So I do want to emphasize how
They played a very impressive series just recently. I know they lost today, but a very impressive series on the road against the Rangers. They're an offense right now, and I think in this division, we're kind of seeing the writing on the wall here. I think they're very capable of slugging their way to winning another division title. I agree with Klemmer's concerns, though. As a team, they only have an ERA plus of 102. Kershaw, I believe, will come back at some point, but even if he does, Kershaw sucks in October. So, how much are we relying on that? After Kershaw, who's your game 2 starter? I mean, do you go Urias based on the pedigree? Do you go Gonsolin? I mean, they are another team that desperately needs to trade for a starting pitcher, and I think they will. Offensively, though, I mean, the numbers they're putting up, especially since the All-Star break, are insane. I was thinking about this today, and this might sound crazy. Have we, maybe underrated how good Freddie Freeman is? He's going to go down as one of the greatest offensive first basemen ever. And it's not like he's a horrible defender, but you look at his numbers. This is in the second half of the season coming into today. Now, keep in mind, he went 2 for 3 today as well. He's batting .419. He's got an on-base percentage of .550 and a slugging of .903. He's got 3 home runs, 9 RBIs, 8 walks, and struck out 8 times. I mean, him and Mookie in that lineup, they're carrying that team, flaws and all. I understand him. I didn't have him as high as 3 because I do have too many concerns about their pitching. but I think they're being carried by the vets. Their deadline will be very telling because I think this is a very good Dodgers team, but using kind of grading on the curve that they've earned because of how dominant they've been. There's been Dodgers teams in the past where I've been certain it's at least NLCS, if not World Series or bust. This is a more flawed Dodgers team than we've seen in the past, but that also makes me think maybe they play better together than some of the previous Dodgers teams come October. But offensively, they're red hot right now.
It's a great pick. Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts are to me the best 1-2 position player combo in baseball.
I think that's right.
They have two guys in their lineup with over 400 on base, and neither are named Mookie Betts. So you also have him as well. It's just being a really good player, and then you got Will Smith and Freeman have over 400 on base. Their offense is scary. I really like what they have going. They have a lot of questions with the pitching, no doubt.
Yeah,
man, Dodgers 3. That happened quick, but I believe it. I buy it. That game they had the other night when it seemed like everybody in the lineup had hit a home run, and that's kind of the identity that they've really taken on is who the fuck is going to punish you tonight. So I'm very confident and comfortable in the Dodgers at 3 here.
Yeah, well said, Carl.
This is what I had. All right, you're 4, Carl, right?
Mm-hmm. I'm 4. I'm going to take the Rangers here. I don't think that the Rays have a spot here at
Good
4.
job.
I think the Rangers punished them, and then the Rays went down a lot. It's to me, it's between the Rays and the Rangers here, and just having the head-to-head recently. Obviously, the Rays don't look good. I think the starting pitching slightly better for the Rangers right now because it's healthy. At least it's predictable. At least you know who's pitching for you. The other thing, too, Corey Seager is a front runner, 350 average, 450, 420 on base percentage, 4.5 wins above replacement in 66 games. If he was healthy and didn't miss time, like you could look at him as an 11 or 12 wins above replacement player. It's just unfucking believable. Hits a ball.
But that's the problem, Carl. He's hurt.
Yeah, IL.
He's on the IL for 10 days. Now, it looks like he's going to be able to come back right after that. But that's why I have the Rays ahead of the Rangers for that reason, just because Seager is so good. But it sounds like it's going to be just a little bump in the road. But that was a point of real concern for me. I just value him so much.
You can't put the Rays at 4 with what Texas just did to them this week. It's a terrible optic. I can't do it.
I need a DeLorean or a time machine of sorts because I either if Seager's if this is a 10-day thing for Seager and that's it, then I don't then it's fine because he's already been banged up. They're hot as fuck. They need him in October. If it's more management, but if it's 10 days and they go, yeah, the back's actually still a little tight, and then it becomes a significant problem.
Yeah, Chris, I meant Texas. Texas swept the Rays this week.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Absolutely. Killed them.
I have it flipped 4-5. I have no problem with the Rangers at 4 here. Just my concern though is the Seager. Now, like I said, I looked into this last night, or I tried to read different reports about it. It seems like everyone's saying this is going to be a very short stint. But man, is any guy besides Aaron Judge? Is any guy more crucial, any hitter more crucial to their team than Corey Seager?
Their argument against it, though, is that the Rangers were great without him.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's fair.
But you don't want to fuck, he's so much better than the alternative. Now, they went out and signed him ahead of the shortstop class that we all got hot and bothered for. Correa, Swanson, keep naming the other 2 that were in it, Trey Turner. And now you go back. I don't know if there is a comparison between the 4 shortstops that signed this year and Corey Seager.
No, none. No, he's been far and away the best.
He's the only one I wanted.
Yeah, well, I wanted Correa. We ended up what fucking happened there. We know what happened there. They also, we talk about scheduling. They have it's a short-lived but a very difficult stretch coming up. A huge series, 3-game set on the road in Houston. And then 3 games on the road against the Padres, who the last week or so have played a lot better. So that to do that without Seager, we're going to find out really what they're made of here. One last point, and this is just a yes or no thing. If the season ended right now, is Nathan Eovaldi your American League Cy Young winner?
It's him or Cole.
Yeah. He's
Osman's also in the conversation. Cole. Someone did a good side by side. Cole has most pitchers in most categories when you compare them, but Nate's right there.
Yeah,
For
I mean,
sure.
what an unbelievable signing that's been. I do not think they even, they signed DeGrom to be the ace. I do not think they expected to get this out of Aldi. So, I mean, they've been able to stay upright. They've had some tough series against some good teams recently. I mean, they just seem tired to me in the series against the Dodgers, honestly, after what they did against Tampa. So, yeah, no, I no complaints from me. I actually had them a little bit higher, but we're splitting hairs at that point. So yeah, I having them at 5 or at 4 is no issue.
Two things to close out Texas with. One, you got this upcoming series with Houston, as you said. Good time to catch Houston. They're just
Yes, we'll talk about.
They're not at full strength here. It's a good chance. I know they're not going to have Seager, but if you're not going to have Seager, then it's a good Astros lineup to attack right now because it doesn't come off to me as the most. It's like Jordan's not back for that series, right? I don't know the latest timetable, but no, right? And then they're missing Altuve. So this is a very. I mean, Bregman seems to finally be getting his swing going. We'll talk about the Astros, but and the other thing, real quick, Aroldis Chapman in his first, where's the stat? 7 innings with the Texas Rangers, 12 strikeouts, 3 hits. Pretty good. Now, only one of those has come in a save opportunity. They've pretty much avoided using him there, but so far, they needed bullpen stability, and he is helping big time.
For sure, it's a great point.
Also, you mentioned Rookie of the Year, Gunnar Henderson. Yeah, he's definitely
right there. That's at 1. Yeah.
Josh Young is right there too.
It should probably be him right now, I would say. Yeah.
I mean, it's tough. I think it's going to be a nice, fun race to watch as we get down these last 2 months because right now I have them both pretty neck and neck. And if someone has that big August, that big September, especially both teams, I like that both teams are also good and probably you might get a push for the playoffs. This could be one of the funner Rookie of the Year battles to watch.
If you had to write down the list, though, wouldn't Gunnar be would you put Gunnar as he's more valuable to the Orioles than Josh, right? Or does it matter more if Gunnar's with lesser names?
Not for me. You can't. I don't. It's Rookie of the Year. It's just they do the best they can. I don't know. I don't look at it like that.
Okay. I don't know. I would trust your perspective on it. That's why I'm asking.
By the way, Josh Young 2.4 WAR, Gunnar 2.6. It's cool.
Wow.
These guys play the same position in the same league. They both are on good teams. Like I said, this could be a really fun, last 10-week stretch here with these two guys.
Especially because the MVP is not a race. So it's we got a Cy Young race and we've got a Rookie of the Year race. Good.
Yeah, and how often do you get two? And not only that, but this isn't like Greg Olson winning the Rookie of the Year in '89. These are two players that I think have really good futures, and this isn't Pat Mustache. Yeah. These are two guys that I think have really good careers ahead of them.
Yeah.
They're going to be really fun to watch. Imagine this. That's going to be fun. Third base the next 10, 15 years, American League. Got these two guys. Who starts the All-Star game? I love shit like that. This could be a fun rivalry with those two guys.
Yeah.
Gunnar Henderson, since taking the bat off his shoulder, too. Who's up 5? Who's up 5 here?
We're back to top of the order, so that would be Hubs.
So, I'm glad. This is exactly how my board is looked. I got Tampa at 5. Can't drop them any more than this, but it feels good to drop them a little bit. I'll say that because they're playing like fucking dog shit. And they don't deserve to be anywhere higher than this. It is crazy to watch because I feel like us and the rest of baseball sat here at the beginning of the year and saw them 13-0 and 29-7 and thought East is over, no problem. Yeah. And they always go back to the old adage, you can't win your division in April, but you can sure lose it. Well, they didn't, people thought, you know what, but they won it. Nope, here's Baltimore, and Tampa is struggling big time here. They are 32-35 in their last 67 games and 4-14 in their last 18.
So let's drop them lower. Why do we make them 5?
Why? You know why, Carl? Because if the Astros, I think, were playing better lately, I would, but they're not playing better. They just don't deserve it in my mind. It looks like they're going to win 2 if they're here against Oakland. They have struggled to beat Oakland this weekend.
Yeah.
And win this series. So I can't drop them any lower than that. But they deserve to be 5 here. They did not pitch well this weekend. McClanahan gets knocked around by Baltimore. They're in a little bit, and by a little bit I mean a lot of bit of trouble, to the point where I'm looking at, and I'm going to be kicking myself here in a little bit, but I'm looking at the American League wildcard race, and with 2 months to go, it's not out of the question if they keep playing like this that they don't make the playoffs, because if other teams pick it up,
Yeah.
if because Seattle's starting to play better baseball, Boston's hanging around, the Yankees could, I don't know, but the lead here between Toronto and Tampa for the first and third wildcard spots is 3 games in the loss column right now. Like, could you ever imagine yourself saying that in May when Tampa got off to this start? They have dropped from the sky. They have fallen straight from the sky and made a crater in the Earth's crust.
I think I'm glad. I agree basically with everything you just said. Carl and I had a little discussion about the Tampa Bay Rays on the most recent show that we just did, which is I think that the issues that are bothering them right now are not issues that you can scotch tape together at the deadline. I think there's some serious problems in regards to, because we always say the Rays have depth. There's been so many pitching injuries at this point that depth is gone. I mean, there's a lot of teams that get shit for not taking care of their pitchers getting injured. I mean, we can talk about how the Rays develop pitching all we want. They also have a laundry list of guys who suffer serious injuries. And Rasmussen ain't coming back. Springs ain't coming back. McClanahan, as good as he is, I don't think he's still fully healthy. He did not have a good start. And I know he got off to he had a nice couple outings to begin his career. Taj Bradley ain't the guy. Taj Bradley's got a 5.5 ERA. He got pissed on today. And really, I think that and I'm part of this as well, because they got off to a magic start. And 13-0 is 13-0. Not going to knock it. They opened the season home against Detroit, on the road against Washington, home against Oakland, home against Boston when Boston was really kind of struggling out of the gate. I think that we allowed that stretch when they were fully healthy for that brief period of time to kind of blind us from the fact that this is a team that has, a few flaws. Now, with the right moves and potentially good health, do I still think they could make a run? Yeah, but they've been trending downward to me since the early part of June, and they haven't really been able to recover from that.
All right, 2 things. First off, they're going to make the playoffs. Let's stop with that stupid.
I agree with that.
I didn't say they weren't, but I said it's a conversation. It's a conversation.
It's not a conversation.
It is. It absolutely is a conversation.
6.5 up on the Yankees and for that last spot.
That lead was 12-13 a little while ago.
I think they're good. Now, I do have a question for you guys. Maybe you can help me understand something, because I don't get this. Okay. So they recently DFA'd Yanni Chirinos, who is not a great player. I'm not saying he's pretty okay. He's been pretty okay for a while.
He just got picked up.
Anybody. I know the peripherals aren't great, but he's okay. The Braves got him. The Braves just
yeah. That was it. Yep.
And I'm thinking okay, first off, why are the Rays DFAing a pitcher that's decent? And then B, why are no other teams? Because how the waiver wire works is reverse record. The Braves must be the last team to get a chance, right? What are these other teams doing that could you? I mean, there's so many teams that think they could use them like that, even if it's just a long man in your bullpen. I don't know why some of these teams passed on him. That I was looking at that this weekend. I just didn't understand it. I don't know if I was missing something.
It's a good point, Klemmer. And really, his numbers this year, the FIP is bad, and he's not missing a lot of bats. But he's got a career 3.64 ERA, and He's only 29 years old, and we're talking about a team in desperate need of starting pitching depth or just pitching depth in general. They do a lot. They make a lot of weird moves that have always, in the moment, they make you scratch your head, not picking up Charlie Morton's option, trading Blake Snell, and then it always kind of works out. Maybe this is one of those instances where finally water's finding its level, and some of those galaxy brain moves that they always make maybe aren't working out the way that they have in the past.
Yeah, they may just not like him.
Yeah.
Just a bad guy. It's fuck this guy,
Sometimes it just say, we don't like this. We don't like this guy.
I'm not saying
he's now watch here. We start this rumor that just goes up. Chirinos is a clubhouse case.
Imagine that the whole team went to Cash's office, just we're fuck done. This guy.
This guy's got bad BO. Maybe he farts really bad. I don't know what the problem is, but I would think a guy like that has value to a lot of teams. Everyone passed on him, but the Braves, who. Good for them for picking this guy up. But then it really was one of the more perplexing DFA moves I've seen all year. And I don't know.
Good point.
It's maybe, but I think you have to have the Rays at 5 here, just because they are still 6.5 games up in the wild card. They're playing. At the end of the day, they're still a team that's barely, just about 600 winning percentage. They've had a very good season. But I mean, you guys have all everything you guys said, except for them not making the playoffs. I agree with. There's some real concern.
This is a team too. We were making TikToks early in the season about they're going to break records, and is this one of the best teams in history? So there is more to this than just them not playing well over the last couple of weeks. I think there is a bigger narrative that at least I personally have bought into, that like this team's special and different. So it's just taking a little bit longer to realize. But Hubs, your point, 32 and 35 over their last 67 is categorically bad. That's probably top or below bottom 10, I would guess, bottom 12.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the schedule. Like, their
15.
September is not easy at all.
So
This is a very difficult. And they have a little bit more of this stretch here. Like Texas, Baltimore is a gauntlet. Miami, Houston, New York are their next 3 series, and then September gets really ugly for them. Not great.
We're at 6. We are at 6. Back to you, Castellani.
I think this is going to be the one that's going to throw a wrench in everyone's plans, but this team's piqued my interest a little bit. Their fans shit on me all the time, which is fine, but they're playing really good baseball. Fuck it. I'm going with the Milwaukee Brewers in the 6th spot. And this has more to do with the fact that there's other teams that I think are starting to trend downward that I have a few more issues with. But the fact is, this is a team that is 21-10 since June 14th. They have coming up in the month of August, they have series against the Nationals, Pirates, Rockies, and White Sox. I mean, they're going to have, a comfortable stretch here against some bad teams. Their pitching continues to hold up. I mean, Corbin Burns, it was a wonky offseason with him because of the arbitration stuff. But Corbin Burns, since April 11th, we're talking a large sample size now, has a sub-3 ERA. He's got 119 strikeouts and 112 innings. That offense, as frustrating as they are, has been much better lately. Yelich has had a very good year. And once again, even though they, traded Hader a year ago very controversially, the back end of that pen is fantastic. Devin Williams, talk about, one of the elite closers in the sport with that changeup. I mean, he is automatic. I've said before, I don't think they have any chance of winning the World Series, and I kind of stand by that because I think at some point they're going to need a little bit more offensive production. But when you look at the Brewers, man, I think that they fly under the radar a little bit. Since 2018, this has been a very, very consistent organization. They have their system. Has it resulted in a championship? No, it hasn't. But I'm starting to see more offensive production. I'm starting to see them win games against good teams. They just, I know they lost the series against the Braves, so they played the Braves really tough. They've had chances against Cincinnati. They've extended their division lead by beating the Reds. And ultimately, going back to the point Klemmer has made many times, if we're talking about those 2 teams in that division, I'm going to give the edge to the team that, 1, has more experience, and 2, has better starting pitching. Starting pitching will be a dominant lineup any day of the week. They're playing really well right now. They've been hot for the last month. They overshoot their projected win total every single year, and I think they're going to do it again. I like them to win that division. I think they're playing really well right now.
Funny you just said all those words and Sal Frelick didn't come out of your mouth.
Yeah, that's
not
right.
Not one.
We got to talk about Sal Frelick.
We
One
can,
of the better.
Can we talk about the fact that the Yankees would fucking blow the doors off the Brewers? I feel like in a 7-game series.
No. Let me get judged back before you talk about.
So we're
anything.
we're Milwaukee 6. Milwaukee 6. Old Milwaukee.
I had him 7. I had Houston here, but I'm not up in arms about it. Like I do like they did lose the series to the Braves. It was also the Braves. They've been playing better baseball. You get Frelick here to make it his debut. Garrett Mitchell is coming back, I think, pretty soon too. That will help the offense.
Can we go back to Corbin Burns?
We can go back to Corbin Burns.
Say that stat. Really 112?
119 strikeouts and 112 innings.
All right, really I'm buying it more because when I first heard it and I was listening to it, I was like, Brewers 6. I think about it. They did sweep the Reds. They're 5-6 over the Reds in the 3 games before and the 3 games after the All-Star break. Huge selling point. Sal Frelick up, huge selling point. Garrett Mitchell coming back, I'll care about when he comes back. Do I like him more? Do I like him more than the Blue Jays? Like, would they be the 3rd best team in the AL East right now? This is where it's like.
It's like Chris said that he doesn't think the Brewers could win the World Series, and I pretty much agree. But like the Astros could, and like the Astros are better than the Brewers.
But the Astros are playing worse right now. I mean, I have the thing is, I think the Astros, and I've loved watching them the last several years. They have right now, subject to change, obviously, 1 elite player in their offense. It's Kyle Tucker. Now, where they've made their bones the last several years is they've had dominant pitching. Framber Valdez isn't right now. He's pitched 1 million innings over the last 2 years. They skipped his turn through the rotation once. They might have to do it again. He gave up a 5 spot, I believe, to Oakland a few nights ago. You look at Christian Javier's last 5-6 starts. He's been downright bad. Fastball velocity's down. Spin rate is down. down. I really like Hunter Brown as a pitcher, but his ERA is 4.19, and he's a rookie. You talk about another guy who's going to be asked to be stretched here when he doesn't have the experience or the inning or the mileage on his arm that some other guys do. We know what they're capable of at I mean, they could do something huge at the deadline that makes me change my opinion, but I don't fucking know what anyone's going to do at the deadline. So that's right now, like, I am more confident, subject to change. I'm more confident that the Brewers stay playing this way than I am that the Astros become a team that ultimately catches the Rangers and wins that division.
The Astros do have a better record than the Brewers do. Now, the Brewers do have the division lead. Obviously, the Astros don't have that. I had the Brewers at 9. So I don't hate the pick at all. It's obviously higher than I would have gone. But I think there's a lot to be said about how the Brewers are playing right now. The Corbin Burns is a great point, Chris. That's someone I look at every time he goes around for my picks. I'm like, ooh, Corbin Burns looks mighty tasty right now because he's been playing so well, and the stats don't really show because he got off to such a rough start.
Yeah,
if he can be an ace for them in a very weak division with a pretty soft schedule coming up, that might be enough. I like the Brewers on this list, maybe not as high as 6.
They've got the third lowest. They score the third least amount of runs in the National League. Fuck.
So here's one thing about that. I don't know if this is good or bad. They're hitting much better against lefties than they were, but now they're hitting worse against righties. So I don't know if that's in their favor or not, but
Craig Counsell's in my top 5 managers.
Easily. No one ever talks about him. They overshoot their win total or projected win total every fucking
season.
year. Yeah.
Every season.
It's tough, though. The Blue Jays have so much more talent than
Blue Jays. Blue Jays just don't impress me. They like we gave them a little bit last week. I think we had them like 6 or something like that. And you come back and you just lose to the Padres and the Mariners. It's like that's just it's uninspiring baseball.
They're the team, I think, that consistently, when we talk about them, has the highest ceiling but also the lowest floor, and that's what annoys me about them, is that they'll come out. They open the All-Star break, or second half by just shitting all over the Diamondbacks. And that's where last week we came on here and said, oh, shit, this is scary. Yeah. This could be a World Series caliber team. You drop 2 out of 3 at home against the Padres when everyone declared the Padres dead. And now you've played some, you got a series going on against Seattle right now. Manoah's been on the mound. You're up by a run. Maybe they'll be able to finish it. Maybe they won't, but they're just as good as they are. They're just too fucking inconsistent for me to put them in the top 6-7 teams.
I agree.
I'm not gonna. I don't like I said. I don't love it that high, but Chris makes some good points. This isn't one I'm gonna. I'm not gonna argue this one too much.
Yeah, and a little bit more on Sal Frelick. That game was just awesome on Saturday. The back and forthness of it, that guy just coming through in every which way. Those 2 catches were incredible. He's just this little 5'9" guy, just a little squirrel out there in right field, making great plays, coming with big hits, little slap hitter. He was fun to watch on Saturday. And,
yes.
Yeah.
I was going to say Sal Frelick's a cool player because he's obviously very undersized, but he's a notable, famous Massachusetts athlete. He was a Massachusetts Gatorade Player of the Year in football.
Yes.
Like all-time dominant athlete, and was doing that like sophomore, junior, senior, all that shit. And then went to Boston College. You like local guys that stay local. Like he could go elsewhere. He could have stays with Boston College. I think COVID, he was like starting to get names and then only hit like 240. They shut the season down. He comes out. He's just fucking red hot as a junior. He got drafted 15th overall out of Boston College, which if you're a Massachusetts kid, I mean, damn, that's got to give you a lot of pride. So then to see him take the field, if you haven't watched this kid play, wears the pants up, chews the gum fucking hard, hits the ball the other way when he has to. Like his debut was very patient, hitting the ball the other way, but I think he's got some big fucking pop in him. I think he can absolutely. I think he. Can
if I'm not mistaken, I think Syracuse wanted him to play quarterback in college.
Wow, really? Interesting.
Yeah, I love every second of that. It makes all the sense in the world. But Syracuse doesn't have a baseball program.
Right. No, I'm saying, but they want to play quarterback.
Sure.
Like that's how talented. He also looks like. For love of the game, the Yankee who comes up in the 9th inning to pinch hit and try and break up the perfect game. He looks exactly like that guy.
He looks like a Yankee. And now I say that, Klemmer's going to roll his eye, but he did play for Team Italy this year. He's got that Italian bone structure in that face. He was a leadoff hitter for Team Italy in the World Baseball Classic. Him and Miles Mastroboni playing for the Cubs here. I love Sal Frelick gives me hope for the future of baseball because we need those 5'9", 5'10" great athletes to be willing to play minor league baseball. No one believes me when I say that. We're on the number 7 pick.
We are. Yeah.
Is that me?
I believe so. Yeah.
I think it's me, right, Carl?
Yeah, it's you.
I'm going to go with the Astros then.
Yep.
This is obviously not a perfect team. Chris made some good points about their starting pitching. And with, Jordan being out, obviously we still have Altuve out. They're not playing their best baseball, but at the end of the day, though, I like this team. Chas McCormick's had some nice spots there.
Yeah, he's good, man.
JP France, Hunter Brown. I know he's a rookie at ERA's 4.26, but that's still pretty good. Brandon Bialik. So they have. I know that Framber and Javier haven't been their best, but those are 5 good starting pitchers that if they can just get right, puts them a huge leg up over almost every team we've even mentioned today. As far as just having some consistency in their rotation, and having guys stay for the most part healthy. They have a pretty good bullpen. I like this team here. I think are definitely going to make the playoffs, and that's not. I don't to say that. And I like how this team lines up, and we've seen the Astros make some pretty big moves deadlines before, so that's definitely a team to keep your eye on. But I know they had some trouble. This is not a perfect team, but it's also the 7th pick, so you're not going to get a perfect team here. But they've been pretty good this year, and I like what they're doing. They're still on pace for 90 wins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I still like them a lot too. I mean, I was critical of them because I keep expecting for them to catch up to Texas, and every time I feel like it's going that way, they have poor starting pitching performances. The offense gets inconsistent. I mean, Jordan coming back is just going to change the entire dynamic of that division, especially if Jordan comes back while simultaneously Corey Seager might still be on the IL. That might be their opportunity to catch Texas if that opportunity arises. It is still a really good team. Things haven't been as magically perfect as they were for them a year ago, but they know what it's like to grind this thing out. I mean, they're going to be just fine, but the last week has been somewhat unimpressive for me.
Wait, so I asked this question earlier, and I did not get the correct answer back. I just looked it up. Jordan's back Monday.
Oh, boy, against Texas. Oh, boy.
He comes back. He played in, assuming these games went well, these minor league games in for AAA Sugarland. He's expected back Monday, and that begins a gauntlet. Like they have Texas for 3, Tampa for 3, Cleveland for 3, the Yankees for 4, and then 3 in Baltimore. Gut check time for them to start kind of waking up. Jordan's return, they're going to start to get things going. I did not know when I was talking about before. I did not know Jordan was back Monday. That helps.
I didn't either.
Well, he just had it. That was the first time he played back-to-back games or something this past weekend, right? So it's announced that they are for sure bringing him back on Monday.
Well, that was the latest update. Before he played those games, it said he's playing Friday, Saturday before returning the Astros on Monday.
Wow.
So I don't know if they officially greenlight him, but I haven't seen any. When I'm looking at his name right here, I'm not seeing setbacks. So
that makes me seeing. So all right, that just there's just more questions for me if they just are going to throw him. It'll be interesting. Do they throw him right in the lineup?
Probably as a DH, yeah.
They're not going to call him up unless they're going to play him.
Right. Okay. Welcome back, big guy.
Yeah, that's not good news for the rest of the American League. I'll say that.
A lot of teams lingering around after the Astros that have just had putrid 2-6 over their last 8, 1 for their last 7. There's so many teams that could step up. So now this is getting like you lost out on Carl talking nice about you this week. I'm not trying to be too much of a dick about this, but there's so many teams that could have this spot, which is why I'm going to have to revert back to talent and take the Blue Jays. Because they had a 3-game sweep on the West Coast before dropping to the Padres. I know the Padres are better. We could come back here 2 weeks from now and the Mariners could be in the top 9 based on their pitching and how well they've played over the last 6 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever you want to look at the Mariners sample. They're fucking better too, though. I wanted to give a little bit more credit to the Mariners, but I'm going to have to take the Blue Jays because of the talent. It's just a talent disparity thing. If we rolled these teams out right now, I know they haven't been hot over their last 10, but I would feel comfortable with where they're at. So I'm taking the Blue Jays in the 8 spot.
Yeah, I like the pick a lot. I keep doing it. I keep looking at this lineup. I keep looking at this rotation. And I know Manoah hasn't been himself, and he didn't even have that much of a very good start today either. But even take Manoah out of it, you still got Gausman, Bassett, Berrios, Kikuchi. Those guys all have ERAs under 4. I look at this team, and I look at their record, and I don't understand what I'm seeing. It doesn't make any sense. I know they're not a terrible team. They're on pace for 88 wins, somewhere in there. Mm-hmm. This should be a team that should win 95 games. I'm really kind of lost at this. They have a good closer in Romano. They have a decent setup with guys like Meza, Richard, Swanson. They don't really have any real holes. And even Varsho, I know he's been awful offensively. He's been really good defensively. It's like one of those teams that just doesn't add up for me. And maybe it won't. Maybe that's just kind of who they are. You do have those teams in baseball that always kind of underachieve.
Yeah.
It's been going on since the dawn of time. You have those teams that I just expect more from them. And they just always let me down. Hubs and I, I've been working with Hubs for over a year now. We've had this discussion since I started. I'm always I think the Blue Jays are better than they are, and Hubs is always they just don't add up. And Hubs has been right, really, because they weren't particularly great in the playoffs. Any time they make it. This year they're underwhelming again. I don't know, but I think that's a solid pick at this spot, though, Carl.
Game 4 of the 2016 ALCS was the last time they won a playoff game, I believe, which is crazy considering the talent that they've had. I could see them this year, and this is why I feel like we need to keep them on the list somewhere. I could see them having a similar vibe to last year's Padres, where people forget when the Padres acquired Soto and Hader, they kind of sucked for a month and a half. And all of a sudden, you get to October, rotation's fully healthy, lineup's fully healthy, and you win 2 playoff series, and obviously you get bounced by the Phillies in 5. There's enough talent there where when the sample size gets smaller, I could see them getting red hot. But right now, there's just not enough consistency for them to be top 5-6 team.
But this is more.
Well, yeah, Hader didn't allow an earned run all of September. His August, he was awful. But you still need to have that lead up going into the, especially if you're a fringe playoff team. You got to play well going in. And right now, this Blue Jays team just can't seem to get out of their own way.
Yeah. And I do want to, again, make a point. I'd love to sit here and talk about a host of teams that had earned the right to come in here and say, hey, they're playing a little bit better. The Giants, the Diamondbacks, the Marlins are trash. The Red Sox were super hot. And then it's well, we can't give you a little bit. I'm sorry, Hubs. It'd be great to throw the Yankees in here at 8.
I'm not asking you to.
I wouldn't. But this list versus other weeks now, I feel like this list where there has been this excitement of should these guys be here versus this guy and this team's better. Yeah. I'm just saying it's it's a flavor of who's not worse right now. Who's more.
I didn't have the Blue Jays. I didn't have the Blue Jays in my top 9. I don't like what I'm seeing. They're avoiding a sweep today by the Mariners, who they're playing a little bit better baseball, but I don't see a lot from them right now. I know I've been the schedule man on this show. Just scanning real quick. Bizarre end of the stretch of the year for Toronto. Texas for 4, Boston for 3. Then the Yankees, then the Rays, then the Yankees, then the Rays.
Wow.
It's a really weird end of the year schedule and it's not an easy one either. It's weird and hard. Not a good combination there. Didn't have my top 9. That being said, Carl, I agree with you. I'm fine with you putting him here because you can make a case for 5 teams that probably don't even deserve it. So, whatever.
I love that Hubs has become Mike Francesa of this show.
Yeah, I'm a schedule man.
He's waiting for the Giants to meet up with the Giants. It's exciting.
No, you know what I should do is I should rip off every series, not just 4 series. Just start saying team names
that's
Blue Jays.
That's a loss.
Yeah. That's a weird schedule, though.
What the fuck
is that? But if you bring up that, to me, I just hear that schedule and I think MLB's thinking, how do we compete with football?
Yeah, right.
Because if it's coming down and you have the Blue Jays and the Rays and the Yankees are all in the mix to win that division, that's great marketing.
Yeah,
no doubt.
So
all right, who's up next?
Who do we want to make the 9th out of this? Should we
was that 8? Was that just 8?
That was 8. Do we want to abandon the 9th spot this week?
No.
No. I think.
No, are you saying nobody's earned it, or
I want to scream at Klemmer right now.
The Twins.
What about the Reds?
No fucking way.
The Reds have won 5 in a row. You fucks.
Reds.
The claim looked fucking good this weekend. You dog.
Yo, fuck the Twins. Do not put the Twins here.
Did you see Joe Red fucking hot?
No, they suck. Stop.
Yo, I don't know if you watched. I happened to watch the Twins White Sox game today, and it was horrible. The last 3 innings, would it go 12? Their extra innings were painful to watch those teams try and score a run. They managed to fucking do it finally with 2 outs after a double play with the base loaded. They stink.
What happened in the game, Hubs? What was how did it turn out?
They beat the Chicago White
they
Sox.
Won. That's right. They got a W.
The Whites.
Baby.
So did the Reds. The Reds have won 5 in a row, Klemmer.
Yo, the Reds, you talked about this. You talked about this on last week's show. That they have a tough schedule here. Giants and, was it Diamondbacks? They beat them both.
They did. They did.
They played well. I like Bailey Ober. I like Sonny Gray. I like Joe Ryan. I like Pablo Lopez as my 4 guy. The Twins are pretty good.
Their offense sucks.
Those 4 pitchers would get snapped in half like fucking Bane if they went up against an actual lineup, dude. I'm telling you, man. There's no way.
What are you talking about? Bailey Over's ERA has been under 3 almost the entire season.
Bailey Over against a good lineup would get his tits lit up the same way every other Minnesota Twins starting pitcher does in big games. I know he's good, but he's a good Twins pitcher. Good Twins pitchers make it to October and get their shit rocked. That's what happens.
You spent too much time watching the shitty Tigers lineup. That's what you're blinded. You're blinded by the Tigers.
Right. That's what they do. They shut down the Tigers, they shut down the Guardians, and they shut down the White Sox. When they actually have to face good teams, they get rocked. We've watched this for 2 decades now, Klemmer.
I don't care what Brad Radke did 20 years ago. Like, I don't give a fuck. Bailey Over's been there 3 years. He's a damn good pitcher.
You trust Bailey Over in an October series? You think Bailey Over goes into Game 3?
Why not? He's a good pitcher. He's talented. He's really good.
I
don't care if Paul Pavano got knocked around in the 2011 playoffs or whatever the fuck. I don't give a fuck.
Here's just how I view the Central, man. Someone's got to win it.
What? Exactly. Yes.
Someone's got to win the AL Central. And they're going to play their third team in the wild card, and they're going to lose that series.
Right.
Just what happens.
I'm with you on that.
So, I don't know, man. I was very impressed by the Reds. I thought maybe after their opening series, and Klemmer was like, I was like, damn, is Klemmer right here? Like, fuck, do I have to concede? And they bounced back, man. They had a great week. They played good, exciting baseball. Good for the Reds to hey, we're not done here. We're going to be back. What are they, 8 over now? Are they 8 over? Yeah.
8 or 9, yeah.
And the number 1 team in the wild card over the 2 teams they just beat who are on 4 and 5 game losing streaks. Good for the Reds.
With Ellie De La Cruz slumping for a large majority of that. He homered today.
Well, he's going to continue this. That happens. That's an adjustment period because he comes up and everybody thinks he's awesome. And I know he's awesome. I put him in the hit parade all the time, but it's not a slump. It's an adjustment.
Can I just say something about Bailey over here? 69 ERA against the Orioles. That's in 2 starts. They got a pretty good lineup. The Dodgers, 1 start, 1 run, 6 innings. This kid is good. He's a good pitcher. Against teams with winning percentage over 500, he has an ERA of 3.09. He's a good pitcher.
I'm not saying he's not, but I just, I've watched every team in the AL Central this year, and none of them have impressed me. I know he's a good pitcher. Sonny Gray's a good pitcher. But they're on pace for 85 wins. I don't think we can put him number 9 in this thing. I mean,
can we get at least an inventory of teams to consider at 9 here? Like, I'm not considering the Diamondbacks. Every time I look at the Diamondbacks now, they're getting swept. Yeah. So, I do need to hit a pause button on them. And the Giants lost the momentum that allowed them to kind of get up here and get sexy with me. The Marlins have lost a ton. The Marlins can't stop losing. The Phillies have not done anything with their momentum.
Marlins have won 1 game since the All-Star break. That was today.
Yeah,
8-game losing streak.
Demoting Yuri Perez ruined them.
I think they're 3-11 since demoting Yuri Perez. I believe, or something like that. 3-9, 3-10.
They deserve it all.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it is also with the Marlins. We talked forever. They kept winning. Run differential was bad. I think, sometimes teams find a way to circumvent that. Sometimes water finds its level, and I feel like water's just found its level with the Miami.
Yeah, I think the other teams to consider here would be the Mariners and I guess the Red Sox, but they just lost a series to Oakland. If they had won that series and they looked solid on Saturday against Klemmer's Mets, we'll see what happens Sunday Night Baseball. We don't know. They got Bernardino pitching. I don't know. I don't know. That Oakland series just tells me, hey, just when Boston gets something going, they're just an inconsistent team.
I'm with you. I'm with you. I want to get the inventory of the teams that we have available here. We're saying Guardians. Yep. I'm with you that Red Sox, they're out. Yankees are in or out for this consideration.
No. You can't. The Royals, we could beat the Royals. Us.
All right. So we basically, I'm looking at Mariners, Guardians, Reds, Klemmer's, and Phillies.
I think the Phillies are good. They've won 5 of the last 10. I'm not saying that's a great thing, but it's not like they're just slumping team.
And we had them in here confidently a couple weeks ago.
We did.
I mean, I think the Phillies are a better team than the Reds. Like, if I had to pick a roster to win a game today, I'm going to pick the Phillies roster.
Well, if you had to pick a roster, but that's the problem with the Phillies is that they have a roster full of names, but a lot of guys are having bad years. Trey Turner's had a bad year. Kyle Schwarber, by his standards, is not having a great year. Bryce Harper has 4 home runs all season, coming back off of Tommy John. Aaron Nola has been a disaster in his contract season. Zach Wheeler hasn't been Zach Wheeler. I know these are a lot of names, and it's an organization and a GM that we trust, but they're only 6 games above 500, man. Like they'll make moves at the deadline, but I'm not completely aboard the Phillies bandwagon.
I also disagree with you where if they played each other in the playoffs, like usually when we say that, I'll agree with you. I think the Reds give the Phillies plenty of hell in the playoffs if they played each other. I don't think the Phillies are that much better. I don't know. Sorry. I like what the Reds are doing.
I think that's insane. If you had Aaron Nola,
he's been terrible.
They're all better than the Reds guys except for Abbott.
Nola's been horrific.
Nola has had a better season than almost every Reds pitcher.
Let me check this. All right, well,
he's 9-6 with a 4.27 ERA.
On the year,
you guys looked at me like I was fucking crazy for suggesting we abolished the 9th pick. We've been here for an hour. This is chaos. I love
My
it.
pick is the Twins. I think the Twins are the 9th best team in baseball. Wow. Now, you guys can disagree, and you guys can fuck your Reds, whatever the hell you guys want to do to the Reds. Just bizarre things you guys want to do to them.
I agree with your pitching. I agree with their pitching. I just don't like their offense at all.
Their offense sucks. Yeah.
Oh, fuck. At heart, week, by the way, I came in here fucking liking the Mariners.
I think the Mariners are an option.
I need to see more from them. I think I have the Reds over the Mariners right now, just because the Reds have a better record. They have a better road to the playoffs. I mean, the Mariners are 8 out of their division, and actually, it's hard for me to.
Well, I mean, they're a wild card team,
but they wouldn't right now. They are.
No. I'm saying, but that's where they're hunting. They're not
3.5 out of the wild card.
And
they got to jump over the Red Sox and Yankees, and in theory, the Blue Jays.
I think one of the Yankees or Red Sox will play each other out of that, positioning, and it's
I think so too.
And we don't like the Cubs, even though the Cubs have been hot.
The Cubs haven't been bad.
Let me say this: Cody fucking Bellinger is going to get the Cubs a very nice haul in about a week.
Awesome story, man.
And that man is also going to get paid this offseason, and I don't know if it's going to be a good idea or a bad idea because he's so I don't know, but. Holy fuck, is that guy heating up is not the word. He is in supernova right now.
Yeah, we'll figure out a way to trade him for a single A guy that no one will ever hear of.
Can we talk about
after that trade is done? Because once that trade's over, you'll never hear the fucking guy they get in return.
Perfect, great. Let's just have us call my call. Let's just have a conversation. We'll get that going. Okay.
I like the way you guys have treated Rizzo. I would feel very comfortable watching any of my former guys play.
Don't look at our tweets. Today was a good day.
You guys were fucking mad at him, but you guys go
45 games.
That's a lot.
It's a long stretch. We're getting away from the 9th pick. So Klemmer's doing the right thing. He's saying he has Twins. I'm going to fucking roll with Chris Klemmer this week, and I'm going to throw the Twins on the board.
Attaboy, Carl.
Good luck.
I am.
So when me and Chris say the Reds, how's that go?
Fuck! Not one of you fuckers is going to come with us?
Can we, for the graphic, could we have a little, just below the Twins, a little dash with the Reds there?
No, I say we flip a coin.
Yeah,
flip a coin. Flip a coin.
No, I would say for the sake of the graphic, let's put the Twins
Klemmer doesn't want to. No, Klemmer does not. Klemmer did not work this hard to flip a coin.
That's right. No,
that's where. Okay, so I just want to make my point and where I'm coming at this. Okay. I can be talking to the Reds. I like the Reds. I do like what the Twins are doing, and in the sense of needing a 9th team this week, guys. We've already layered this in as saying so many teams have fucked up. The only reason we're talking about the Twins is because the Diamondbacks haven't done it, the Phillies haven't done it. There's so many fucking teams we listed. So as I'm trying to come to a pick here for 9, obviously I like the Reds, and I'm biased towards the Reds because I like that story and I've been seeing it closer. But I do like the starting pitching, and I want to reward the Twins this week, and I want to put them 9th. And I've been more swayed by Klemmer's points about the Twins. And I just fucking hate that the Reds lost 5 in a row that week. I know they came back this week, but I hate the fact that they introduced the adversity for them to overcome. It's not like they had to overcome adversity, that they created the adversity for themselves. So that's why I'm going with the Twins. The last 2 weeks, I've just been a little bit sharper 9. I have the Reds at as a close 10.
One more thing to tell you guys on it. The Twins had the Mariners and then the Royals this week. So I think they're going to put themselves in a good position to end the week pretty strong next week. Another reason to maybe like the Twins. Selling you guys in the Twins. Trying to sell you guys in the Twins.
You know what? Fine. Take your Twins, and then when you just continue to be wrong about the Reds, you'll just look dumber than you already are.
Yes. No, if the Reds have a huge series. Reds Brewers next week.
That's huge. Yeah.
If the Reds do really well in that series, that it starts I think tomorrow, right?
Yeah, they have the Brewers and the Dodgers.
If they play really well this week, then I think at that point I will buy in. So I'll make that. I'll say that if the Reds have a good week this week, I have no problem putting the top
4-2, you're in.
4-2, I'm in.
3-3.
We'll see. We'll see how the teams do at that point. If they go 4-2 or better, though, think that's fair, right?
And then when you ask to hop on, I'm going to set you on fire.
Yeah, but don't think I'm getting off at 2-4, pal. They go 2-4. You think we're climbing off?
Yeah.
No, I'm not. Come on.
If the Reds get their shit kicked in, I'm going to make fun of you guys so bad, especially you, Hubs.
I'm going to light you on fire.
Wait, do we have the Reds at 9 or the Guardians at 9?
No, I gave you the Twins.
Twins.
I know I keep saying Guardians.
Sympathy Twins.
Okay, let's see if we can run through this 1 through 9 off the top of my head. 1, Braves. 2, Orioles. 3, Dodgers. 4, Rangers. 5, Rays. 6, Astros.
No, I had Brewers.
Brewers 6, Astros 7, 8 Blue Jays, 9 Twinkies. This has been a loaded show. Usually once we get to the 7th, 8th pick, things fucking explode, guys. Thank you very much for doing this Sunday night here. This is the Barstool Baseball Show, loaded week. Trade deadline's approaching. We will have streaming coverage for that. Subscribe to Barstool Baseball on YouTube, please. Subscribe to Barstool Baseball on YouTube and all the other platforms. Catch it. Thank you guys. Until next time.